Hi, my name is Robert Chelle with Chelle Law, and I'm an attorney that assists physician assistants with employment contract and independent contractor agreement issues. Today I'm going to talk about terminating a physician assistant contract. So, what are the ways you can terminate the contract, and then some areas need to be cognizant of so that you're not going to have potential problems down the road. So first, how to terminate the contract. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be the PA terminating the contract without cause. And so in that scenario, you'll have a certain amount of notice you have to provide, usually somewhere between 60 to 90 days for both parties. And so you would write a resignation letter, provide it to the employer. That's 90-day window would then start. You'd work out the 90 days and then you're free to move on after that. Now, there are some things associated with terminating a contract that you need to be aware of. First, there will be some kind of restrictive covenant, very likely within your contract, and that can be a non-compete, a non-solicit, non-interference, non-disparagement, basically all the things that you can't do either during or after the term of your contract. So you want to make certain before you sign that the non-compete is favorable to you, limiting how long it lasts, limiting the geographic restriction. As far as solicitation goes, it will be you can't actively solicit patients, employees, business associates of the practice, that type of thing. So just make certain that it's a reasonable non-compete and non-solicit. One point for PAs, you want to make certain that the scope is absolutely limited to what you're doing for that specific employer. So let me give you an example. Let's say you're working in orthopedics as a surgical assist. You don't want it to say you can't work as a physician assistant for 1 year and 10 miles of, from the practice. You want it to say you can't work as a physician assistant in orthopedics. And that way you have some options. As a PA, it's nice that you can kind of go specialty to specialty. And so, yes, maybe you are orthopedic trained and that's your preferred area. But for some people, moving is not an option, and having to drive, 30 minutes to a new job is not desirable. And so they can just do something else for a year and then come back to their desired specialty after that. Next would be financial obligations. So usually when you terminate a contract and it's within the first year or two, if they provided a signing bonus, relocation assistance, there's going to be language that says you have to pay back that amount if the contract terminates. So you need to make certain how long that forgiveness period is and then how much of the amount that you'll have to pay back. Let's say you received a $15,000 signing bonus and then it says a 2-year forgiveness. And it's an all or nothing thing, meaning you stay for 2 years, you have to pay the entire amount back. Ideally, you would either shorten it from 2 years to 1 year, and then also shorten the forgiveness interval. So instead of an all or nothing payback, you would forgive it monthly. So if you left in month 23, you wouldn't have to pay the entire amount back. You'd only owe them 1/24 of whatever was left over. So that's pretty important. And then how to give notice is probably the next thing that matters. There'll be a section, or at least there should be, at the end of the contract. It's called notice or notices. And it'll say, any kind of termination must be in writing and maybe personally delivered, sent certified mail. More contracts are saying email is acceptable as well. Many don't, though. So what you don't want to do is just verbally tell your boss that you're leaving, and that won't get the 60 or 90-day, time period started, and you just have to wait a little bit longer. So make certain that you're following whatever the notices section in the back of your contract says. Terminating a contract is just part of any kind of employment relationship. Some people get freaked out about it. Negotiating all of these things in advance of even signing the contract is one of the biggest areas that I go over with a PA when I'm reviewing their contract. I mean, it can have huge implications on your ability to find a new job after the contract ends and having to pay back money, and maybe you're responsible for tail insurance for your malpractice. So getting all of these things lined up in advance can save you a lot of heartache kind of down the road. So anyway, that's a little bit about terminating a physician assistant contract. If you have any questions about your employment agreement or independent contractor agreement, feel free to contact my law firm at the information listed below in the description. And I appreciate you watching the video. All right, thanks. Take care.